When we speak of ISB and its impact on students, the one word that stands out is transformation. We welcome bright young minds to the school, see them graduate with flying colors, and go on to accomplish some incredible things. She grew up around the world of travel, watching STIC Travel Group evolve into a leading and respected name in India's travel ecosystem. But rather than simply inheriting a legacy, she chose to help shape its next chapter. After completing her PGP at ISB, she joined the family business and steadily expanded her responsibilities across operations, partnerships, and strategic planning. Over the years, she has modernized processes, strengthened global alliances, and widened the company's footprint beyond traditional airline representation into cruise tourism, experiential travel, MICE, and data-led operations. In March 2021, at a time of unprecedented disruption for the travel industry owing to COVID, she stepped into the role of CEO. Her leadership since has focused not just on recovery, but reinvention by building a more agile, diversified, and future-ready organization, resulting in a recognition for excellence at the India Travel Awards. Join me for a conversation with Isha Goyal from the PGP Class of 2004, the CEO of STIC Travel Group. Isha, thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here as our guest. You know, there's many ways to start this conversation, but the easiest one is to say, tell us what STIC stands for, because that's the company you are the CEO of.
Yes.
And I think that will be a great way for our viewers to get to know the company you represent.
Sure. So STIC actually originally stands for Student Travel Information Center. It was started by my parents in 1973. And my father came from several years of being a student leader. So he had bitten the travel bug on one of his student union leadership summits when he was traveling the world. And he realized that he loves travel and he wants to make a career out of it. And my mother, who he was dating, was a tremendous supporter, and they pushed him to take the plunge. So he stepped out of his family business and set up Student Travel Information Center. But the business itself today is moved along from student travel to general travel experiences, aviation, etc. And it started in 1976 with them accidentally becoming representatives for an airline called Air Ceylon, which used to be the national carrier of Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And that relationship was the first time we represented a brand to industry, which is the core business today. In the travel space, it's known as a GSA, a general sales agent.
Sure.
So today we are the GSA, or the exclusive representative, for 13 airlines and 8 cruise brands. That's our current portfolio, and 3 car rental brands.
So tell us a little bit about how you got to joining the family business and the early days of your leadership as the CEO.
So how I got to learning the business was, I think it was more osmosis than anything else. And it was always dinner conversation, as with any family business,
Sure.
right? So having said that, I think it was really after ISB that I officially, formally joined the company as an executive, which was early 2004. And I started by doing all sorts of things. I interned, you can say, in different parts of the company, also in different parts of the country, and tried to learn from people who'd been in the organization for years. There were some core skill sets that I was fortunate to have also developed pre-ISB, even over, 6 or 7 summers, interning every summer, right from when I was 10 or 11. My sister and I would spend our summers doing
In the office?
little jobs in office that we would get 500 rupees for or something.
Can I ask you a question? I mean,
Yeah.
While it's a family business and you've been exposed to it all through, post ISB, I'm sure you had plenty of options. Some people who come from similar backgrounds, they say, I'll go out, work somewhere else for a few years and then perhaps come back. Some may not return. What was it like? I mean, the decision, was it very clear all through that you're going to join the company after ISB, or something led to it?
Well, coming out of ISB, I think it was always, I thought that it would be temporary, to be honest, you know. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to be in travel. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be in the family business. So I came in uh, for a few years. And in my mind, it was always something that I will do more for the family than for myself or the company.
Got it.
It was more because my parents were still figuring out what the succession plan should be. And my sister, who used to be working in the company at that time, now she's a non-executive director. But you know, she was partly in the, I mean, she was fully in the business at the time, but there were parts of the business that she wasn't too keen on. And I really came in fresh out of ISB, full of ideas, saying, I'm going to step in, I'm going to make some changes, naive 20-something-year-old, and then I'm going to move on and do something else of my own. And I had no idea what that would be. And it wasn't, and we did so many things, and time passed. And I kept, you know, it was 2004, and then there was the financial crisis, and then that had a ripple effect or a waterfall of impact on travel as well. And then I said, okay, we're going to see this through, because as a business also, we had some ups and downs. And then I think 2008 or 9, we realized, okay, this is a legacy organization. We need to do some transformation. So we did some internal transformation in 8 and 9, and then 10 became 12, and 12 became 14. And then I realized I was having fun.
You already
And
spent 10
business was
years in the
scaling.
business.
Yeah. And I was doing more and more. And credit to my parents' generation, I credit to them that they allowed me and gave me the liberty to do it. Because I think one of the other things that I've learned about family businesses, and something I say to people all the time, is that, you know, the difference between an entrepreneur and someone in a family business is an entrepreneur has all the freedom in the world and oftentimes no money, at least not of their own. And in a family business, it's usually the opposite, that you have the capital, but not necessarily the freedom, because you are typically stepping into someone else's legacy.
Yeah.
And until you make it your own, and or you find a way to, you know, integrate into what exists.
And so you said you worked for a few months before ISB. So were you one of the youngest students on campus?
I wasn't the youngest. I was amongst the younger ones, for sure. But I have a height advantage, if you know what I mean, since you've seen me in person. So I think that would also make people see me as the baby of the batch. I was 22 when I came to ISB.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about your early education. What I'm also curious to know, at what stage did ISB come into your life?
Sure. So after school, I went to school in Delhi. I did my BCom honors from Hindu College in Delhi University, and I graduated in the summer of 2001. So it was in my final year of school, I think, in 2000 or somewhere thereabouts. I'd seen a newspaper ad, which, you know, we used to back then in 2000
absolutely.
and 2001. So I saw a newspaper ad for a job, went for this job. I was sitting outside waiting, and there was a Delhi Times or something like that, where I saw a photograph of a group photograph and an article of an international school backed by McKinsey, etc., being opened in Hyderabad. And I read that. It was a little snippet with a group photograph with Dr. Sumatra Ghoshal, Rajat Gupta, and a bunch of others, Wharton, Kellogg, all the, you know, original words. So I saw that, read about it, made a mental note. It said Indian School of Business, and then I forgot about it. And then I Googled it later. Well, back then it wasn't Google, but whatever it was, I looked it up, and I saw this website that spoke about this fantastic new concept opening in Hyderabad. So then I registered. There was a form. I filled up that form for information, and then I got an email about an event that was it was a road show.
Yeah, an info session.
It was an info session. I still remember it was in the lawns of the Taj Palace Hotel, and I went for it after registering. It's hard to tell, perhaps, because of my job, but I am by nature a shy and introverted person. So I spoke to no one at that event. Outside of registration, I didn't have a single conversation, but I went, and on the stage there was Professor Sumantra Ghoshal was sitting smack in the center of that dais, and Rajat Gupta was there, and there were a few others who I don't remember, and I'm sure they were all stalwarts. But that was because Sumantra Ghoshal spoke about his vision for this school and for the dream that ISB was, that they all dreamt together.
Yeah.
And I'm getting goosebumps telling you about it, but you had to be there. The energy, the aura with which he spoke about this school and about this dream, it was so infectious. And it was like he was glowing, and I did have a brief, I stood in while a group of people huddled around him after he got off a stage, and he spoke about the school or what the school was supposed to be. And he had this energy and this sparkle in his eyes. And I learned later from so many people I spoke to who had studied under him or worked with him, etc., that's just who he was. That was just so inspiring. It didn't leave me. And of course, I was very young. I was so eager to go see this campus. So then I went to Gachibowli, and I had lunch with the dean, with the present dean.
Yeah, who was then teaching.
Who was then teaching the course. So again, I must have been looking like a little child in that exec dining hall. So Madan was sitting across from me at lunch, and he asked me, "So, what are your plans? So, are you going to apply to ISB?" I said, "I'm definitely going to apply." So he said, "What are your favorites? So, who all are you applying? What's your order of priority?" And I told Madan, I said that, you know what, I have 5 number ones who are my 5 priorities. These are the schools I've researched, and I would be happy going to any of them. But no one other than these 5. I don't want to go anywhere else. So he was very polite and kind about that statement. But of course, ISB was one of them. And at that time, Madan was visiting from LBS.
Correct.
Right? And I told him that I'm very keen on LBS, but I'm too young. So if ISB doesn't take me when I'm ready to apply, maybe I will work a bit more and go to London Business School. And that was 2001. And then I eventually made it to ISB as one of the younger applicants in 2003, class of 04.
Yeah.
And yeah, the rest is history, as they say.
Lovely. And in terms of, going back to the point about, almost 15 odd years, 16 odd years later, you took charge as the CEO of STIC during COVID.
Yeah.
Right. But it was at a time when uncertainty, was the only word that everybody knew of, because nobody had there was no playbook for how to deal with COVID. But you were taking charge of a travel company, and most people were not even traveling, so what was it like?
In January of 2020, so every year we do, some sort of messaging internally to set the tone for the year, right? As most companies do.
Yes.
And in January 2020, for whatever reason, we said it's a new decade. It's going to be the decade where we champion our people. That was the message we sent out. And we said it's the internal hashtag will be together towards tomorrow.
Together towards tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. For the decade of the 2020s. Yeah. Right. And then when COVID hit, that phrase meant so much about together towards tomorrow. So when I took over as CEO, it was really about my people. It was nothing about if the business has to survive, we're trying to survive. Why? Because we have all these families that are connected to the company. Right? Everything was about surviving and surviving together and moving together towards tomorrow. And that became our motto for COVID and through that period. And I think what really defined my role at that time was not me, but was the energy that we, took forward as a team.
How do you, because you've inherited a legacy, you're carrying it forward. Is there any burden that you feel at any point of time?
Not a burden, but it's a massive responsibility. I always say that I'm a caretaker of this legacy. It's both a responsibility and a privilege.
I also want to add another sort of complexity to it, if I may.
Yeah.
As a woman leader, does that get further amplified? This responsibilities
Yeah.
that you're talking about.
I think it does. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. I think I work harder, push myself to be more visible, push myself to do more than I would have done perhaps, or I definitely know for a fact than my male counterparts, because I'm the daughter and not the son who's at the helm. And yeah, so I'd be lying if I said it doesn't have an impact. Definitely has an impact. And I think if you ask me, over the last 5 years, I've learned that I need to be more visible than my peers and competitors. I need to be more connected. I need to be more hands-on.
Yeah.
To be recognized and respected in a similar fashion. And that's also, that holds true for any woman leader, irrespective of a family business or an entrepreneurship or even a corporate leader. I think it's just that there's no glass ceiling because it's a family business, so I'm sitting as the CEO. But yeah, of course, absolutely.
I want to go back to the campus life and ask what are, there must be many memories that are very fond. Is there anything that stands out for you, whether classroom or beyond classroom thing that you say, I miss that the most about ISB?
I miss many things. So firstly, about campus, I miss the rocks.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you hear that from everyone.
A lot.
I miss the rocks. There would be times when, whether you're in a group of people or you're sitting alone at an odd hour or whatever, you can walk on that Gachibowli campus, and you've got this beautiful, all these rocks around you, and there's this very cool breeze.
Yeah.
That you only feel in Hyderabad and in Gachibowli. And when we were there, Gachibowli looked very different, right? The ISB campus and I think it was Infosys across the street, were the only two campuses for miles, right? And it was just barren land. And yeah, so I miss that. I haven't experienced that anywhere else in the world. And when I do experience it, on holiday somewhere, it takes me back
to
in
campus.
a second. So that's definitely that, and the mirror pools. Love the mirror pools.
What would you do differently if you were to sort of, offer this as a piece of guidance or advice to students who are on campus right now?
I would change my study group. And I'd say that particularly for study groups, because not only does it help you to engage with as many people as you can on campus, yeah, but it also helps you later in life, because you don't choose your teams. And you don't choose your industry peers, you don't choose your competitors either.
Yeah.
Right. And putting yourself in those high pressure environments where you have stuff to submit, where there's a freeloader and there is someone who's carrying the weight and there's someone who's a number cruncher and so on and so forth, it teaches you so much. And you don't realize it in the moment. You may realize it 10 years later, 5 years later. But so you have to push yourself, particularly if you're an introvert, as I was, as per my MBTI profile, and I am, as I admitted to you. It teaches you so much about yourself. And it teaches you so much about how to deal with people, how to deal with all sorts of personalities. And it's good to fight.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't like confrontation. So I tend to stay away, and I'm the kind of person who will always step in and resolve conflict.
Yeah.
Which is great, which helps. It helped when I was in Madan's class in negotiations.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think conflict helps you grow. And you have to get comfortable with conflict. So that would be something that I would change.
And get exposed to that in a safe learning environment is what you're suggesting.
Absolutely.
You've seen the school in the past 20 odd years since you've graduated.
But yeah.
And what's your sense of how the school is doing, how alums are doing for themselves, for each other? What's your observation? And as an alum, what's the feeling that comes when someone mentions ISB in conversations?
Oh, it's very heartwarming. It's very heartwarming. So if someone tells me that they are even remotely associated with ISB, immediately they're my favorite in the room. So I think that's probably the same for everyone, right? Because the institution itself was so transformative for me personally that when I meet anyone who's been through even a remotely similar experience, there's an immediate affinity. So that goes without saying. If someone reaches out to me, even cold calls me, and now the alum community is so large and it happens, saying that I'm from ISB, even if I would otherwise, not engage, I will find a way to try and engage. So I think that's what the community of being a part of the alumni network does. Good.
I want to ask you if you were to offer advice to young alums, especially women alums who are, entering family-run businesses such as yourselves. What are some skills that they should pick up or focus on picking up so that they succeed the way you have succeeded?
I'm still learning. I'm far from succeeded, so hopefully we'll get there soon. But I would say, so there's a couple of things. One, for anyone stepping into a family business or at the helm of a business, my lesson or my learning is be authentic. Number one, don't change who you are. You don't need to. If you need to change yourself to achieve something, then it's probably not right for you or right for what you represent. So I think authenticity is key. And that really should define your leadership style. There is no formula for a good leader. There is there's no recipe out there saying that you have to be 20% this and 30% that. Just be who you are and lead with confidence. And
Every journey is different.
Every journey is different, absolutely. And then the other thing I always said to my son. He used to listen when he was younger. Now maybe not so much, but I think it's something that holds true for children, but also holds true even I tell myself sometimes is that be brave, right? Leading a business or taking over a legacy, a family legacy, is a responsibility and a privilege, like I said earlier. And it can be intimidating and it can be overwhelming. And what you do will more often than not be at least mildly incorrect. So just be brave and still go ahead and do it. If it feels right, do it. Be brave, be smart. And what I've learned in over the last 22 odd years, and I continue to learn every day, is that I'm often not the smartest person in the room. But you have to be smart enough to understand that. Right? So surround yourself by people who you think are smarter than you in at least one realm.
Yeah.
If not more. And understand when you're not the smartest in the room and be smart about it. Right? So be brave, be smart, and above all else, be kind.
Lovely.
Size is relative, success is relative, and can be so transient. So be kind. So that's
wonderful. This conversation can keep going on, but I'm going to get into the rapid fire round. These are a bunch of questions. You have to give out answers based on what's the first thought that comes to your mind.
okay. I'll try.
Okay. Travel for you is dash.
Learning.
Learning. Your favorite destination?
Ladakh.
Ladakh. And your dream destination?
Antarctica, maybe?
Okay. Biggest travel myth you love busting?
That vegetarian food is hard to find.
Your go-to line when things don't go as planned?
This too shall pass.
One leadership lesson the travel industry has taught you the hard way?
You have to become an extrovert to survive. No, hard lesson is, relationships are everything. Invest in relationships, invest in connections, and be authentic, not transactional.
Okay. One decision you're especially proud of as a CEO?
to put people first.
Okay. A moment from ISB that will stay with you forever, or that still stays with you.
Yeah, that still stays with me. I think is what I described earlier. Just in SV3 behind our block, there was this massive rock between block D and E, I think, at the back. I remember once, like 5 in the morning, we'd submitted done and pulled an all-nighter or something, and everyone climbs on the rock and sits and chills or whatever. And I was lying down, staring at the stars or the sunrise or whatever it was. Maybe it was 3 in the morning. I don't remember. But I just have this distinct memory of lying down on that rock, staring up at the sky by myself, and just feeling like this moment is perfect.
Lovely.
It's my happy place.
And wishing you many more such perfect moments that takes you to happy places, Isha. Thank you so much for chatting with us. It's been wonderful.
It's been fun. Thanks for having me.
Not at all. And for us as a school, it's it's alums like you who not only have these happy places on campus, but post ISB have gone on to create happy places for others, which makes us proud as a school.
So nice.
So thank you so much for everything you've done, and wish you all the very best.
Thanks, Guru. It's been fun. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.